The burden of Egypt. Behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud and shall come into Egypt. Now Egypt in the scriptures is dealing with, it was dealing back then with ancient Egypt, but today it's dealing with modern day Egypt, which is America. Now in the book of Revelation, the Lord calls this place spiritually Sodom and Egypt, because they take out all the ancient customs and all the ancient symbols of ancient Egypt. Like you have the Washington Monument. The Washington Monument is an obelisk, which is a pyramid that's square, and it comes facing in. That's an obelisk. That obelisk goes back to Egypt. That's a replica of one of the obelisks, or one of the symbols of the sun that went back to Egypt. So today, modern day Egypt is America. Right. And like that's a good point. On the back of the dollar bill, you have a pyramid. And this is not just an ordinary pyramid. This is a pyramid of Egypt, the Cheops pyramid of Egypt. Now what is an Egyptian pyramid doing on the back of a dollar bill? Because America is a modern day Egypt. Down in Las Vegas, they have the Luxor building. The Luxor building is a pyramid that's set up down there with the capstone removed, and light comes out of that capstone up into the heavens. See? Because everything that the so-called white man does is all through symbols, through Satanism, through witchcraft, through ritual. And I gotta go back sacrifice. Right, blood sacrifice, all of that. Man, numerology, everything they do is a numerology. Now, I'm gonna hit you with something. Dealing with, based on numerology alone, the Capitol building down in Washington, D.C., the parcel of land that they set it on was lot 666. I got the proof. We got the documents. The parcel of land where they built the Capitol building on was lot 666. Was that by coincidence? No. That was all staged. That was all set up that way. Just like the rest of America is set up through ancient masonry, ancient witchcraft, the ancient deities or the ancient gods of the other nations. Going all the way back to Babylon. Because the ancient Babylonians worshiped the sun. Even before the Egyptians were even established as a nation, the Babylonians worshipped the sun. And then the ancient Egyptians gathered that or adopted that custom of worshiping the sun from the ancient Babylonians. And here you go right here, they got Sunday. Then it says, see this guy, Salem Kervin, put out a book called Satan's Angels Exposed. Now, you got these so-called white people and these so-called scholars that put out information, right? But they go off. But that's when we come in. Because we come in and we correct it. Because he's saying here in chapter 7 that worship of the sun began in Egypt. It didn't begin in Egypt. It began in Babylon. Because the sun was through the ancient Egyptians, the sun was worshipped as Ra. It was worshipped as Amon. It was also worshipped as the Eye of Horus. Because you had a trinity in Egypt, which was Osiris, Isis, and Horus. Now Horus, somebody give me the dollar bill again. Matter of fact, if somebody give me my bag. There's a burgundy right in that bag. There's a burgundy, what you call it? Let me get that. Now, this is good right here. All I want to get is, right here, this is a book by Ralph Epperson called The New World Order. Now, on the top of the pyramid, as we mentioned before, the pyramid of Cheops, or Cheops, which is a pyramid in Egypt, which is the same pyramid that's on the back of a dollar bill, you have on the top a capstone, and you have inside the capstone the all-seeing eye. And in the all-seeing eye, around that capstone, you have rays of the sun illuminated around that capstone.
just turns me on.
Now this demon on the screen is named Baphomet. He's the demon that's set up over the music industry. These celebrities worship Baphomet, and they show you all the time that they worship him, but you just don't notice it. Take a close look at this picture of Baphomet. Now look at what Beyonce is wearing in this picture. Here you have Beyonce wearing a Baphomet suit. She is deep into the Illuminati and Satan worship. She is a demoness. What does she call herself?
I'm not a diva. I'm not a diva. I'm not a diva. I'm not a diva.
She calls herself a diva. Diva is a Latin word that means goddess, which proves that she's presenting herself as a god. They believe that they have attained God status through their illuminated minds. Hence the name Illuminati, which means the enlightened ones. That's why the scripture said in Isaiah 47:10, "Thy wisdom and thy knowledge it hath perverted thee, and thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me." Now another reason why Beyonce was chosen besides her talent is her beauty. The Illuminati through the media floods your mind with all these images of her, and then young girls and women want to dress and act just like her. Then you have young boys and men lusting after her. They use her voice and beauty as a form of witchcraft to seduce people and control them. But the scriptures warn us about that. Ecclesiasticus 9 verses 4 and 8. Verse 4. Use not much the company of a woman that is a singer, lest thou be taken with her attempts, meaning her temptations. Verse 8. Turn away thine eye from a beautiful woman, and look not upon another's beauty. For many have been deceived by the beauty of a woman. Verse 8 says, many have been deceived by the beauty of a woman. That's why you can't get caught up in the way these female celebrities look, because that's part of the witchcraft that they use to deceive you. A lot of these people have had nose jobs, lip jobs, butt jobs, breast jobs, hair extensions, fake eyelashes, and all types of stuff, all to create this perfect image, an idol for you to worship.
When you go shopping, watch TV, read a magazine, or walk through the city, how well do you pay attention to the assault of logos that invade your space? Have you noticed the same symbols that show up in thousands of logos? Or have you fallen into a media-induced slumber, accustomed to the assault? Humanity has been conditioned by symbolism, And today we are bombarded by logos. The average American is exposed to 600 commercial messages each day. Some symbols and messages we recognize, and some we don't. And what we don't understand can be used against us. And don't think that it stops there. Religious organizations, governments, astrologists, secret societies, non-profits, and health organizations clearly understand the effectiveness of symbolism to communicate a message. Political campaigns are using subliminals in their ad campaigns. The entertainment and gaming industries know that symbols have emotional power and they play on it. The question is, do you know?
Yes. It's in their signal, it's in their covers, it's in the music videos. Look at the backgrounds of many of the music videos. There's a video out with Pharrell and Snoop. There's a point where there's the bottom part of the Masonic compass and square. The square is on one side of the screen and the compass is on the other side. And if you know anything about just visual angles, you can see if you put those two together, which once again is the yin and the yang, it's the female and the male, it's the phallus and the other female portion, and those two artists being together creates the union. And it is so plain, I can only say to people who are awake. And for those who are, please not only pay attention to this stuff, but understand that these artists, many of them, are put in positions, okay, where they have no choice. I don't want people to think that all the time that the artist always knows what he's doing. At times, these people have been just like highway robbery. When a police officer pulls you over, it is basically they're extorted. Okay, they're extorted. Many artists, they'll come up with a drug charge or a gun charge all of a sudden. Yeah. If you want to be successful, you're either going to play your part or you're not going to be there. Period.
And do what you're told. Yeah.
and do what you're told. And at the end of the day, if you don't do what you're told, you're going to find you get pulled over with some drugs in your car, and you don't know how it got there, but all of a sudden you're up for charges.
The tradition of great performers and I really want you to hear what I have to say. The tradition of great performers from Sammy Davis Jr. to James Brown to Jackie Wilson. The story is usually the same, though. You know, these guys work really hard at their craft, but the story ends the same. They usually are broken, torn, and usually just sad. And the story is very sad in the end because the companies take advantage of them. They really do. And, you know, being the artist that I am at Sony, I've generated several $1 billion for Sony. Several billion. And they really thought that my mind is always on music and dancing, and it usually is, but they never thought that this performer, myself, would outthink them.
Yeah!
So, we can't let them get away with what they're trying to do, because now I'm a free agent.
Yeah.
I just owe Sony one more album. It's just a box set, really. I can do the box set, just give them any 2 songs. So I'm leaving Sony a free agent, owning half of Sony. So I own half of Sony's publishing, and I'm leaving them, and they're very angry at me because of it. But I just did good business, you know. So, the way they get revenge is to try and destroy my album.
Michael Jackson was murdered. That claim comes from his sister LaToya, seen here waving to fans from a car in Los Angeles. She says the King of Pop was effectively killed for his money. In interviews with Sunday newspapers, she says she believes her brother was surrounded by a manipulative entourage who fed him drugs and saw him as a cash cow. This so-called bad circle is said to have forced him to sign up for 50 concerts at London's O2 Arena, when in fact he only wanted to do 10. LaToya's also spoken of the moment when she found out about Michael Jackson's death. She was told to get to the UCLA Medical Center, but before she could, her mother was on the phone screaming, "He's dead."
Michael Jackson was murdered because he was no longer cooperating with the system.